Hello, this video is to help you with the opening and completion of forms required to obtain a permit from the City of Bunker Hill for various building projects. The City has used a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet to allow calculations to be performed in the background. You will need access to a program which can read and edit spreadsheets. To get started, open the City's website on your web browser at www.bunkerhilltx.gov. Once there, scroll down to the Permits and Development box and then choose Permits and Regulations. This page has several areas including steps for development, how-to videos, online permit and inspection scheduling, resident information, and contractor information. Under the contractor information area, select Permit and Regulation Requirements. This page shows multiple types of projects and other shortcuts. Select the project form links. This link is available inside each of the types of projects as well. Once you select this link, you may be asked to open the file. Approve the opening of the file. You may also be asked about security. You will want to allow the file to be opened. Some browsers also add an activation button at the top of the screen. You will need to approve the activation if you see this button. Once the spreadsheet has opened, you will see that there are 6 tabs or forms across the bottom of the window. Number 1, where it says Start Here, is your contact information. Tab 2, or Application, is your permit application. Tab 3 is a remodel worksheet for remodel or addition projects. Tab 4 is your tree form, which is required for any project that has exterior work outside of the main structure. Tab 5 is your drainage tab or drainage form, and it calculates your detention volume and lot coverage. And the final tab is Slab Elevation, which is required for new home construction and 50% or greater remodels. So getting started, you're required to start back on tab 1, which is your contractor information for the permit. So let's fill this out, and you can see how the spreadsheet works together. Enter the company name on the first blank, and then the main contact person. And then the mailing address for the company. The city for the mailing address for the company, and the state, and the zip. And then a main telephone number, and then a fax number. And very important is an email address. who will be the field contact for the project, and a cell number for them. If your company has a trade license, such as electrical or plumbing or HVAC, enter that license number here. And then the expiration for the license. And then the name on the license. You will also need to enter your policy number for your liability insurance and the expiration date for the insurance. So you have completed the contractor information form. You can now move on to the application form. The first blank that you'll need to fill out is the address of your project. And then there's a drop-down list where you need to choose what kind of project is it. We're going to choose new home for this example. Below that, you'll need to add what zoning district the property is in the city. There are two zoning districts, A or B, and you can choose this here. If you don't know which zoning district, there's a zoning map on the website where you can look and find the lot and then see what the area of the city is. Following that, very important, you'll need to provide us the square feet of the size of the lot. You'll see that the information from the first tab has been filled in here. For new home construction, you will need to provide us with your desired size of water meter. The city offers three sizes: 1 inch, 1.5 inch, or 2 inch, and we only allow 1 meter per address. And then down below in the large blue box here, just enter a description of what the project is. And also very important, who is the owner of the property? We will need a value of the property. And then we will need the square feet of air-conditioned space. This is required for remodel and addition projects as well. Then also the square feet of non-air-conditioned space under roofs, such as porches or garages or patios. And then the actual square feet of foundation for the structure. Below this are your setbacks, and these will be the least amount of any side of the property. So in the front yard, what's the closest that the front of the foundation will be to the front property line? What's the closest the foundation will be to any side property lines? What's the closest that the foundation on the rear, on the first floor, will be to any rear property line? And finally, what's the closest that the second floor will be to the rear property line? We will need the recording information for the lot. This can be found on the survey or the deed. What's the lot number? What's the block? What's the recording volume? And what page of the recording volume is it on? We also need to know the date of when your pre-development meeting took place. If you do not have the lot size and other recording information, some of this information may be available on the Harris County Appraisal District site. You can click this link to be joined with that site. So now that you have your permit application completed, you can move on to the next tab. The next tab in order will be a remodel addition worksheet. Since we're in this example doing a new home, this particular form will not be available. Following that, you do have a tree form, and you can see that the lot size and address has already been filled in. And so on the tree form you have several columns here. You only need to complete 2 columns, the first 2 here that are in light green. So for the front yard, provide the actual number of trees that are between 5 inches and 10 inches measured 4.5 feet up from the ground. And we're talking about diameter. So in this example we're going to say 2. And we're not going to be removing any. For trees between 10 inches and 15 inches, in this example we're going to say 6. And we're going to be removing 1. And then for trees that are 15 inches and larger, we're going to say 7. And we're going to be removing 3 in this example. So this is for the front yard. Then we need to provide the same information for all other areas of the yard. So now that we've completed that information, you'll have a summary here of what's happening on the lot. So for this particular size lot, there are 26 trees required, a minimum of 12 trunks. The reason that it breaks it down into trunks is the trees have a equivalent count for the larger trees. So the minimum required trees in this front yard is 7. As a result of the number of trees and the trees being removed, there will be 8 5-inch caliper replacement trees required for this project. The city also has an off-site tree replacement program where under certain situations you may be able to pay into a fund and not have to plant the trees actually on your lot. If that is the case, you'll see text show up here. And if you want to participate in this, you can check this box, and then the cost of the trees, which is currently at $1,000 per tree, will be added to the cost of your permit. Okay. The next tab is your detention volume and lot coverage worksheet. Again, your address and the size of the lot is already calculated. This is divided up into 2 areas. What's currently on the lot is on the left, and then any changes is on the right. So from your survey, you can enter the first blank here, which is the current non-permeable coverage. In this example, we're going to say 7,800 square feet. The next field that it takes you to is how much of this 7,800 square feet is going to be removed as a result of a demolition. So in this case, we're building a new house, so all of it will be removed. The next tab is asking, so what are you putting back? And so in this situation, we're going to put back 8,700 square feet worth of driveways and foundations, sidewalks, and other non-permeable surfaces. So it takes you down here to the next tab, which is what was the existing permeable coverage, such as a pool or permeable pavers, we're going to say 600 square feet. And then how much of that 600 would be removed? Typically we see that existing pools are removed, so we're going to say 600. And then what's going back? And we're going to say 1,500 square feet. So after entering all of this information, there's a couple of summary boxes here. It comes back and shows you, first of all, that the total lot coverage after doing all this is 40.44%. If anything violates the city's maximums, there'll be information showing up in red. And then more importantly, down here in this bottom detention area, it will show you how many gallons of detention will be required to be constructed for this particular example. The next tab is for new homes and also more than 50% remodels. This is a slab elevation certificate, and so you'll need to provide the requested information here in the shaded areas. The first space is what's the elevation of the lowest finished floor for the proposed structure, and if it's a pier and beam structure, you'll need to tell us what's the elevation of the bottom or the horizontal beam on the piers. So in this example, we're going to say that the proposed elevation of the concrete slab, the finished floor, is going to be 79.00. Next question is, what's the elevation or top of the nearest sanitary sewer manhole to the proposed house? On this one, we're going to say 77.2. And then it calculates the difference between your finished floor and the top of the manhole. The next question is what's the elevation of either the center line of the street in front of the house or the inlet if it's served by ditches. So we're going to say this is a curb and gutter street, and we're going to say that the center line of the street is 77.8. And this is feet above mean sea level. We're going to leave this space blank because we said it's a curb and gutter street in this example, and our height above the center line of the street is 1.2 feet. The next question is, what's the calculated hydraulic gradient line? Now this is a number that the city will provide you, and if you have not received it, you can click this area here where it says click here to request the HGLs, and this will generate an email back to the city to ask the city to calculate those numbers for you. So we're going to say the HGL calculation in this example is going to be 77. And then the final number, which also will come to you as part of the HGL calculation, is something called the Harris County Atlas 14 elevation. Just enter that information here, and in this we're going to say it's 77.1. So you've completed that information. If any of the elevations violate the minimum requirements of the city, those numbers will show up in red. So the last part of this, it will be that you just need to go back to each of the forms and then print them out. You can do that by going up to the file area and then print, and then click the print. And you'll need to do that for each one of the tabs that you completed. You may also want to save this form now that you've completed it. You can do that by going to File and clicking Save As, and it will allow you to save this particular spreadsheet on your computer. I hope this has helped. If you have any additional questions on the completion of this, you can email the city and we'll reply back to you with instructions on how to do this.